I'm Donnie Haulk, Commissioner with Rutherford County, and we're in budget season right now. So we're talking budgets with the directors of departments, various departments in the county. We've got 20 some odd departments. Unfortunately, not all of them could make it out for the video shoots, but a lot of them did. And so Don, I'm gonna start with you with what are your concerns about your department and the ability your department has to serve the citizens?
Well, I think my department, along with all the other departments, our concern is to make sure that we have adequate supplies and updated items to use, and I'll do that within a tight budget.
Yeah. And you are a Board of Elections.
Yes.
I should have clarified that. Very important role, which we just came through.
It's not a department that you want to cut corners on, for sure. But yes, we handle all the elections for the county. That's local, state, and federal elections.
Municipalities.
Municipalities also, we do. And we do campaign finance reports. We audit those reports for the candidates. And we also maintain the voter registration rolls for the county as well. And that's an ongoing process too.
And then how many voters do we have?
Right now we have just over 46,000 registered voters in the county, which is constantly growing. We are growing as a county as far as.
Is that the most as we've had?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Very cool. Jane?
From the solid waste standpoint, we face many different concerns. One would be a fair and equitable fee structure across the board to maintain growth as more people move in, more industry comes into the county to be able to handle the waste. We're looking at implementing plans such as capital facilities, equipment replacement plans to reserve money for the future. Qualified workforce is a big issue because we have to have heavy equipment operators, CDL drivers. So, when you look at the pay for those compared to the public sector or whatever, then, that creates an issue. And then we have the ordinary small issues like inflation, continued price increases on fuel, oil, metal, stuff like that. So we have several concerns that we're looking at in the near future.
And then how did the hurricane affect you guys?
The hurricane, if I can take a minute, I'll brag on staff because without my staff, dedicated staff that I have, it would have been terrible for us. But each one is dug in, and solid waste would not operate without those staff members. But just alone on our brush intake, I know it's going to sound small, but it's increased by roughly 2,000 tons. However, as you are aware, the county does have an outside source that has been picking up road debris on the side of the roads that citizens could put out there for free. And that has added right now to date about 19,000 tons of double ground mulch-like material that we're having to process. Luckily, we're able to give that away to citizens if they wanted 10 to 2 Monday through Friday.
So mulching, they can come pick it up.
They could come pick it up. It's a free service that we're giving. We load it. We do everything for. I know that takes staff time, but that's a way to be able to give back to the citizens of Rutherford County during this major disaster that we just experienced.
And Danny, same question. What are your concerns and thoughts about your department?
I guess from my perspective, when you think about the multifaceted department that I've got, and probably on the facilities side, planning and maintenance, we've got 20-some departments that operate 40 facilities full-time, and the ongoing expense to operate a facility. Ever since COVID, it seems like utilities and construction costs and even just basic upkeep has exponentially skyrocketed in price. And whenever the commissioners have so many needs coming before you, I read in the paper this morning about the fire departments and their challenges, the schools and their challenges, others. Every time you turn around, you have so many needs before you, and they're all very justifiable. So you guys have your work cut out for you. So good luck with that going forward. But as far as for counting facilities, we've got, again, 40 facilities that we're operating, and more than that, actually.
And you're not counting the schools in that, or are you counting the?
I'm counting county facilities. I'm actually not counting the small ones like convenience center sheds where the attendant stays, little shelters in the picnic areas and our parks and things like that. So all of the small buildings, not really counting those, but we operate 20-something departments. We think about DSS and EMS and the citizens they serve and the library, the senior citizen, the list goes on. And out of 40 buildings, we're probably at 350,000 square feet. That's roofs, that's parking lots, that's sidewalks, that's, again, the power bill. All of those things really factor up into substantial numbers when it comes to budget requests. And I don't think we're trying to do anything with a premium finish, just safe buildings that the staff and citizens are comfortable to be able to come in and take care of business and receive the benefits, whether it be veterans office or somebody needing a ride from transit, and those staff and drivers being able to have a facility that helps them be able to serve the citizens on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know our finance department was leaking this last week, right? That caused some concerns.
Yes. So great point, but we all have these high capital items like HVAC and roofs that are very costly to try to maintain and upkeep. So our buildings and that budget impact would be my priority.
Now, Shane, one thing I like hearing from you is how many people are applying for permits.
We're averaging right now a little over 200 permits a month.
A month.
Yeah.
Now, what has that been in the past? Is that an average or is that high?
That's high for us. We're going to, this year, I think if everything holds true, we're going to have the highest year that we've had in maybe 15, 20 years.
So that's good news as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, houses are up. And believe it or not, we got some apartment complexes coming, new building down at ICC. We got a lot of big projects coming, but the amount of houses, people be surprised. Even
So industry is,
yeah, even with the cost of materials up, the houses really have not slowed down much at all, which I think we're forced to build houses because affordable housing in general is slacking a little bit. So, but yeah, everything seems to be up.
and let me back up and get that question because I don't want you to miss it. I jumped ahead. What are your concerns?
Right now, I was just hit yesterday with one of my staff is going to leave, move on, and I encourage that. He's got to take care of his family, but competitive wages. I mean, I think every department in the county deals with that along with the schools and everybody else, neighboring. It'd be one thing for me to sit here and compare ourselves to Charlotte. Oh, I would never do that, but just with Polk, McDowell, Cleveland County, it's surprising, even with the great strides that the county has done the last 4 or 5 years, no complaints at all, but it just seemed like when we get caught up, they jump ahead. And, I can't blame the guys for doing that. When it probably cost the new inspector that we're going to hire probably $12,000 to $13,000 a year to training. You getting trained up takes about 5 years for him to gain his certification. Then he's a wanted man. I mean, there's no denying that. So yeah, that's our biggest thing. Have been staffing, I would say. Yeah, everything else we did pretty well managing.
Brandis?
I guess one of the things that concerns me most is the mandates that we're required to do day in and day out and yearly. So we run a very small department. There's 2 of us there. There's me and an education specialist, and we're mandated by
And you're soil and water. Sorry, I should have.
soil for one. We also maintain a group of watershed dams or watershed structures that protect flooding along the Second Broad River. So those structures need to be mowed, fertilized, weed control, maintained. With Helene this past time, we're having to pick up trees that have fallen on roadways that lead up to these structures. And all these structures were built in the late 80s, early 90s. So they require maintenance from us and from the county to maintain that they're safe, and they're inspected by the state every year. So we have to maintain them so that they're continue protecting citizens along the Second Broad River. In addition to that, we work with farmland preservation. So, staffing as far as, how do we keep working with farmers to protect farmland? You heard from these other guys that people are moving here and we're having issues with more people living in, how we protect our farmland as well. And in the soil and water side of things, how we keep farmers farming. We got an aging population, how we kind of keep those guys
in compliance with environmental regulations, and how do we kind of keep those guys profitable. So with our limited budget, it's we do what we have to do, but at the same time, it's all necessary.